Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of A.T.O.M RPG. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today as I could pickpocket the mummy? This is not a mummy, this is just somebody sleeping. Somebody had told me in the comments that they copied a mission exactly as Fallout 2, the mission with Carl. I would like to point out that the mission with Carl is meant to, in Fallout 2, it's very, very good mummy over here. Ah, I see you crawling there, little thief, says the mummy. Okay, let's reload, because I'm definitely not gonna allow that to happen. Also, I don't know what happens if you fail a lockpick. I'm not gonna do it again. But yeah, the mission with Carl, I think it's Carl. It might be... I know that finding the name of the mummy is very difficult, because, well, the mummy doesn't speak, unless until later. But the mission with the mummy in Fallout 2 is meant to illustrate how ghouls are so weird, so foreign, and so different from everything people know, so alienated from everybody else that they can pass as mummies. And also that they're ugly, and that they're smelly, specifically. And it's also meant to show, with a joke for sure, but to show that ghouls really don't give a damn. And you see that in Fallout 1 as well, but in the second, yeah. This guy, I'm gonna think that he also doesn't give a damn. He doesn't smell bad, though. He smells of cheap tobacco and onion, which is okay. And he also has a bottle in his pants. Let's have a chat with this guy. The man beckons you with his finger and proudly places his fists on his hips. Ask me any, even the trickiest, questions, he says, because he has a very tone. Tell me about the life of Vladimir Lenin. He was saying, yeah, he says that Ilishish. I don't know what that is. Sure thing. What about childhood? Let's start with the beginning. The future leader of the Comintern? Sure, I believe I've said that word already. Was born in the town of Ulyanovsk. Also, he's not the future leader. He is dead. You don't say it like that. The then future, I suppose. Then known as Simbirsk, in a family of a state councilor, Alexandra Ulyanova. That's interesting. Same sort of the name of the town. And a mighty bear hunter, Ilya Blank. Could be maybe not Blank. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it or something. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing everything. In his childhood, he says, Lenin took part in one of his father's expeditions to the far north, where he personally shot a giant bear with a crossbow. Well, sure. It's utter nonsense. The names and titles are all wrong. How do I know that? Do I not know that? I mean, I don't know that. Simbirsk sounds familiar. Town of Ulyanovsk. That's the same. Alexandra. I mean, it sounds like a thing that people would do. I mean, expeditions were pretty common from countries in Europe, and it's just like they would do things, right? I mean, expeditions to the North Pole is the far north. I mean, maybe it's not North Pole or anything. Yeah, it doesn't matter to anger him more, because I'm about to anger him a lot. Tell me about his youth. In his youth, Lenin spent his youth hiding from the royal guard in a Finnish survival shelter. I don't know if Finnish is written like that. I suppose it is. On the shores of the Baltic Sea. During that time, he managed to read Marx's Capitalism. Oh, right. As well as meet his future wife, Tatiana Krupskaya. That sounds familiar, but again, it might be a reference to somebody. In the World War I trenches in Verdun. In Finland. I didn't know the World War I went up there. But then again, I'm pretty sure Marx didn't write a thing called Capitalism. And I also don't know the names of Marx's books. And also, I don't know if they published books at all. He just might have written, like, papers and things like Echo's. Echo did recently, more towards the end of his life and stuff. Anyway, But apparently, I think that's all wrong. Let's just see. I wish there's no real reason for him to be lying, apart from the initial joke about that he doesn't know anything, it's just a jokester. He would just, I mean, this could be looked up in a book, and I probably should. Tell me about his mature... Oh, sorry. His mature revolutionary years. Ah, yes. After Tsar's gendarmes... Gendar? I don't know that word, I'm sorry. It is a word, but I don't know what it is. Executed Vladimir Ilych's brother, Alexander III. He arrived to the starving Leningrad in an armored car in December. In December started the Great October Revolution. Okay, it's getting more and more obvious. During it, the new economic policy was implemented. Kerensky was defeated and political prostitute Trotsky was exiled. The rest is history. The political prostitute. What Trotsky did, he just went to a lot of speeches and like committees, and that's how he's prostituted himself. Just went there. I talk about this political issue, and he went with whoever, but gave him money. That's why. I'm in physical pain from listening to this stream of lies. Let's go with that. There's not a drop of lie. Okay, well. It's kind of interesting. I like that it's a progressive amount of crap as it just gets all more and more obvious. I like it. That's good. So, tell me how you got this mummy. Oh, it's a long and entertaining story. Could you be more specific? Sure. How did you retrieve it from destroyed Moscow? First question is, I didn't know Lenin was mummified. Also, this man is not mummified. Have you heard of the secret Moscow underground tunnels of the KGB? The thing is, apart from everything else, I was an agent in this organization, and so had access to the tunnels. When the it didn't say of this organization, that's very important. When the first bombs fell, the first thing I did was to drag our respectable comrade Lenin through these tunnels. How did you leave it here? During the Great Migration to the south, I transported the mummy, claiming it was my friend and disguising the leader's true identity under the glasses with a fake nose and a long wig. Vladimir Ilyich was so well... Is that his name? That is his name. Is that his name? I can't tell. I don't know. Was so well preserved that all the people we met on our way here were convinced he was alive. Just not very talkative. Yeah, at least he didn't make a reference to Weekend at Bernie's, so that's good. How did you keep it preserved? The thing is, a special balsamic vinegar is used... He should have said the booze and alcohol and onions. Booze and alcohol? Sure. Booze and tobacco. A special balsamic vinegar is used in the embalming process. It's made of grape must, and that's one of the goods still sold by some of the traders traveling from the south. That's what keeps the mummy in such perfect condition. Well, if it's made of grape must, it's not balsamic. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. You either get balsamic vinegar, or you get wine vinegar. And vinegar already has the vin part, which means wine, but I don't know how that goes. Okay, how'd you keep it preserved? Oh, yeah, that one. Okay, let's change the subject. Tell me about Lenin's heroic feats. There were 3 great feats in the life of Lenin, apart from the revolution. His victory over the monstrous Myrmik, a single-handed building... No, he built single-handedly the Stalin skyscraper, and... which is interesting, because of names, and the taming of the bloodthirsty Fanny Kaplan, which might mean things. I'm sorry, I can't get any of these references. What about the Myrmik? In the memorable year of 1917, which is when Tsars died, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure he was at the head of all that, I suppose, the dwellers of Petrograd, sounds real, were terrorized by a horrendous giant Myrmik. This monstrous ant... Oh, that's what a Myrmik is. I didn't know that. An ant that reached the size of an elephant due to the effect, not effect... Why do people get these confused? Of a radiation chamber of the eccentric zoology professor Vladimir Ipatevich Persikov tormented citizens who were suffering already as it was. But the ones who weren't didn't get tormented. It ate the buckwheat harvest, not buckwheat harvest, I don't know what it is, and caused hunger in the Volga region, except for itself, because it ate, so it's good. But Lenin wasn't taken aback by it. He dragged a log to the Myrmik's lair, carved it into a stake, and put the monster's favorite food, buckwheat porridge, on its very tip. When hungry, the Myrmic rushed to eat the porridge and impaled himself on the stake. Wait a minute, there's such a thing as Myrmics? Is my character... Those always come in the most perfect of times. Because my character is about to say this. Myrmics appeared only recently, after the war. What are you talking about? It wasn't a modern-day Myrmic, he says, but Myrmic from back then. Well, yes. Result of an experiment gone wrong at the Red Ray State Farm. It wasn't really the Red Ray State Farm. It wasn't the real one. It was just the one that they called Red Ray. What about the skyscraper? One day, Comrade Stalin decided to build what's he called a skyscraper, right, in the center of Moscow. But since the general electrification hadn't yet reached the city of Kazan, which is unrelated to Moscow, the all USSR's garner of the particularly sturdy alloys... Sure, this idea of his was, so to speak, put on hold. I don't know where that is, but I'm not going to try to understand. It was once again Lenin who suggested this right revolution. He said, let's use the granite from the quarry on the Nevok way to build it, he said. And it turned out he was right. During the next Stakhanovite 5-year plan, a real skyscraper was built in Moscow. That's, they began building these high rises after Lenin's death. Well, after Lenin's death, they simply began building them in big quantities, while the first experimental one was built in the times of our dear chief. Sure. So how did Lenin tame Fanny Kaplan? On July 29th, don't know the year though, the factory named after Vladimir Ilyich, who is, I assume, an unrelated person, the mean right-wing socialist... Wait, what? You mean National Socialists? Fanny Royd? I suppose. AKA Kaplan, for reasons, attacked our dear father, Comrade Lenin. Without any warning, she oh, he was a woman. I suppose, maybe, I don't know. She stabbed Lenin, who was working at the factory, in his heart with a knife covered in curare poison. But her plan didn't work out. Right over his heart, she didn't stab. In his chest pocket, Lenin carried his party membership card, the knife of the evil-minded right-wing Nazi, I suppose, bounced from it and stabbed her right in the eye, which is fantastic. It's like that trailer video from Sniper Elite 3 or whatever, where there's a sniper that shoots, instead of shooting the person, he shoots the toolbox in front of that person, and then the toolbox, there's a screwdriver that then kills the person, because, just, styling them, which caused her to turn into green bubble mud the very next moment, which she was already from the inside. Story so far from the truth that even a person who knows nothing about it, maybe that's why she's just right wings and all mixed up. Fanny Royd, what is that? Is that like I have no idea what that is. You might be knowing, you might know what this is. So if you're enjoying it, I'm glad. I'm really glad. Let's see. So let's change the subject. About yourself, mister. Oh, haven't I introduced myself? I'll amend it this very moment. Great Anatoly, at your services. I think I know what this is. A showman, as they used to call it in the West. An amateur historian with a philology degree. Philology is the study of No. Philology is the study of bloodlines, I want to say. I think so. Or of sigils. From the V.A. Steklov University, I don't know what V.A. is, as well as your humble guide to the maze of Comrade Lenin's life. Try me. I did, and I'm very upset that I can't tell you that this is all a sham, because I really can't. Tell me how I got this. I really can't. I can tickle the mummy. I can't do anything. Sniff the mummy. Can try as many things as I want, but it doesn't do. I wanted a bottle. He doesn't have a bottle, by the way. He has a pocket watch for reasons unbeknown to everyone. Well, there it is. That was the mummy. Let's have a chat with this lady over here, who uses Comic Sans. I think he looks like it. The young woman standing in... Oh, that's not her hair. I thought it was her hair. Huh. The young woman standing in front of you is rather attractive, but there's something repellent, which is the opposite of attractive, which makes a lot of sense, even if in a weird, really janky way. Something repellent about her. Her troubled, restless, somewhat wild gaze, strange manners, and that sounds all very attractive to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Strange manners and the unnatural, serene smile on her frozen face. Which is not frozen, as you can tell. She's very... I mean, maybe, I don't know. If she sees you, the woman makes a gesture you have never seen before. What is she doing? She's twerking in front of me or something? Like, what would I have never seen in terms of gestures? With 2 fingers on of her right hand, and... Oh, it's like that? You have... Sure, I suppose. I mean, I know what you mean. And lowers her head. Those weren't your feet, but Mother Cosmos that brought you together today with a Saint Martyr for the truth. Varna Banana Devi Christu. In the name of the Sitting Wolf, I often teach lessons of the utopian religious anarchy in this town, and in spite of the hypocrites pushing me away. The hypocrites. This game doesn't know what bureaucracy is. Hypocrisy is one of those words that is very often misunderstood. It's very simple, actually. It's really, really very simple. But let's find out how those are hypocrites. You must have heard my speech, she says. Yes, I did. I actually read it out loud. Tell me, servant of God, did I manage to convince you that any Earth authority is false? Oh, is she an anarchist or something? Just all of a sudden? Maybe. Let's see. Absolutely. When shall we start with the purge of the authority ranks, mistress? Oh. It is an argument that you can make if you are against hierarchies and against authority, to call anybody in an authority position a hypocrite. It is an argument, so maybe she is correct on using that. We'll see. Let's see. Not at all. There must be authority. It can't be any other way. It's a very compelling argument. I guess I'm not making the argument. I'm not right now, anyway. I don't know, somehow, I haven't made up my mind yet. No offense, but tell me, are you insane? No, sorry. You are insane, right? I'm asking. I kind of want to go with that. Yeah, let's go with that. That's more or less what my character would say, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. This makes him sound like he's just so bewildered with her, but not repulsed, not necessarily, you know, upset with her to the point where, just screw you, I understand what you mean, but I hate what you mean, or something like that. Just more, what you say is completely alien to me, and it doesn't make any sense. So the only logical explanation that means that you're not a terrible person is that you're insane. Let's see what she replies. The woman sniffs smugly, and okay, she doesn't spit, so we're good. And folds her. There's a lot of alpacas in here in llamas. And folds her arms on her chest as if she's just won substantial debates, all in a fraction of a moment. Well, I guess in a way she has, because of what I said regarding that line. I understand, child. Not all of us can see. Remain under your rock of unfounded accusations and rigid medieval morals. And for me, it's time for me to bring good tidings to the lovely little village of Otranoi. With a commanding hand movement, she summons her associates, and they all leave together. Did you see that, Lenin? Oh! It's... You're still staring after these 5 when oh, you're looking at them. When a surprisingly well-dressed man with a clean haircut approaches you. The repulsive things about him are not mentioned. He stands next to you and places his hands akimbo on his hips. Which is a very weird word to use. Sure, I know what it means. I had to look it up because I remember... you might remember this as well. And anyway, I remember... an argument during the development of Fallout 3 saying Fallout doesn't have guns akimbo. And I was like, what the heck is guns akimbo? What does that even mean? And apparently it's from movies or something. Something. It means just two-handed. Just like similar. It means two-handed, double, dual Berettas or something like that. That's guns akimbo, basically. And it always felt really weird. And I always thought it was more like a reference to something or something. I don't know. But apparently it's just a word that they decided to go with. And I also got the impression that it's a very American word. Even though it's very weird. Anyway, did you see that? That's the sort of people who are roaming the wasteland these days. I would say that my character's not very moralistic. It's the best way to. It's the best character for me to roleplay anything. But this is a brilliant line. I'm not gonna go with it, but oh yeah, oh the times, oh the morals. These days, what do you so many questions. What do you mean these days? What do you mean? What do you mean? Are they? If it's not, they're not the children of the apocalypse. She's very much. I mean, if I understood her point of view, anyway, it's very much grounded before. Anyway, just common people, no worse than most. Well, and I'm pretty sure she used the word hypocrite correctly, so she's good. Squint your eyes at the man. Right, and who are you? I'm gonna go with that reply because that was my surprise when he showed up. Oh, how impolite of me, indeed. I wanted to offer you a job, an opportunity to make some money, but I completely forgot to introduce myself. The man turns and gives you a big smile. My name is Igor, and I represent a scientific charity called Mycelium. Mycelium. With a comma. So what he says is, my name is Igor, and I represent a scientific charity called Mycelium. Or, as our enemies nicknamed us, the Mushroom Cult. We, however, are anything but a cult. So you're anything but a cult, so you're the opposite of a cult. That sounds good. And apparently my character can just ignore that last part. You mentioned the opportunity to make some money. Let's go with that. What is it you need me to do? The man comes closer to you. Oh, he doesn't say that. Unlike most wasteland dwellers, he doesn't stink of body odor, alcohol, or any other, even more unpleasant substances. Alcohol is not unpleasant. Anyway, he only smells of clean clothes and a bit of road dust. How do you smell that? Okay. The thing is, he says, I've been following the activities of these so-called Devi Christou for a long time. Oh, that's the name. Okay, gotcha. And the conclusions I've drawn, are rather grim. We are dealing with a leader of a potentially very dangerous cult. I'm gonna hold you to that word. I'm gonna join her to spite you. If you come off in that is the opposite of what you're saying. Maybe he is of an organization that hunts down cults. Let's see what happens. Are we free competition? Apparently my character can still be very fixated on the fact that he's from a cult, so this does not give me hope. I'm gonna continue listening. You look like someone who knows how to behave in the wasteland, so I would like to offer you to follow these cult members for a while, to find out where they are really dangerous. They're really dangerous in the lower right leg. That's where they are really dangerous. Simple enough. How exactly should I be following them? My hunger is right there. I just noticed. As far as I know, Devi Christou and her disciples are on a small tour around the wasteland. She's determined to find some new poor souls who would believe her dubious sermons. Right now, they are on their way to a small village of Otranoi. Intercept her there and learn about their future plans. Okay. Great. Once you've gathered enough information, come back to me. Anyway, if you have any questions about our organization, don't hesitate either. Just approach me. I'm nearly always standing here in the suburb of Krasnoznameni. Suburb? I'm not sure that's the correct word. Surrounding area, sure. Anyway. A member of the Mushroom Cult. Igor is waving to you. He's dressed in a clean t-shirt and a knitted waistcoat. The men's wool attire is in soft light tones. It's pastel. It's pastel. A curious expression is frozen on his face. So it's very... Is pastel a very 50s color? Or very... Not tone. The color. Tones, I mean. It's a very 50s tone. I think so. Hello, hello, he says. I'm glad to see you again. Hey, can you tell me a bit about your, freaking scientific society? How is that? What the heck? Why is my character come? comes off as, what the heck? Seriously, why? With pleasure, he says. What would you like to know? 4 principles on which our ideology... Okay, you're a cult. I'm joining them. I'm joining the Corpus Christi or whatever. I'm doing that. Is based, or perhaps the history of our society. Okay, let's principles. With pleasure, there are, or these are, the unity principle. Okay. The modesty principle. Gotcha. Those are all capitalized, so they might mean completely different things than you might assume at first. The love principle and the life principle. Which one are you interested in? Okay, let's go with the unity. All of us, people, regardless of our differences, must feel like we're a part of a single organism. An organism is like a plant or an animal. So this is like pathological all of a sudden. The humankind, just like different body parts don't fight between themselves. That's the same way we must discard our lowly disagreements that have almost destroyed us and move as one towards the development with a capital D. So that must be like a thing. What about the modesty principle? When you find yourself on top, don't be proud or ashamed. On the contrary, which it could be genius writing or it could be just a janky way of saying it, because it's lovely, because proud and ashamed are sort of opposite of each other, and he says on the contrary. So you'd say you'd be ashamed or proud. But I think it's just janky writing. It'd be fun if it wasn't. Help the people around you to reach your level. Help the weak become stronger and don't exploit their weakness. How are you gonna find yourself on the top because that's probably more of a principle. How do you find yourself on top if you're not standing on top of someone? I'm not pointing out, I'm not saying that it's impossible to find yourself on top without screwing everybody else up. But that is a question that needs to be answered for any ideology. I would like him to answer something on those lines, but we'll see. Only moving as one like that we can achieve the development. Maybe that's just that's just what he's trying to say. Just a thing that he's saying. This all sounds very hollow. Certainly the first principle sounds very hollow. I know what he means. Just don't fight, and the other one is just be kind. But that's why he's a part of a cult. Help, which is also extremely weird, because she's an anarchist. I assume to be an anarchist. She came off as that, and he doesn't like her. And then he's saying this, or maybe it's a reference to someone, and there's a subtext here that I can't read. So about the love principle, help the people around you, not out of vanity or pride. So it's basically like the other principle. Help others, which is common in cults, to have like rules that are basically duplicates. Help others as you would help yourself. Which is a bad thing, because if you don't like yourself, then you are going to screw everybody else up. Love the humankind, and through that, love yourself. Only moving as one like that can we achieve the development. Again, with a capital D, so... probably a very important state of... It's like nirvana, except it's not called nirvana, it's called development. Okay, so it's a duplicate. What about the life one? It's probably a duplicate of the first one. Let your death not frighten you, or it's not, actually. As death of one is not a threat to the wall. It's just as if your heart dies, your body continues living, he would say. Using what's the word? Analogies? Analogies, I believe, is the word. It's very common for cults and... just non-scientific ways of thinking to use analogies and just leave by the analogies and just but the analogy doesn't fit if we go that way, so he must be wrong. Yeah, it's just very common. Anyway, instead be afraid of the deaths of other people, as that's what kills the wall. Yeah, thank you for pointing it out that one death doesn't matter, because if he said, let your death not frighten you because, you're not part of the wall. You're not a threat if you die to the wall, which sounds terrible. But at least it's like a thing. Okay, I'm not going to be afraid to die as long as the wall survives, and that's cool. And I wasn't thinking of, okay, I'm going to kill my neighbor because I don't like him for some reason. And it doesn't matter because it doesn't kill the wall. And I didn't think that, but immediately he says, this, which makes me think that of, wait a minute, so if I don't care, if it doesn't matter, anyway, I'll betray him as soon as I can. Decision made. Tell me about the history of your organization, the Mycelium Society. I think mycelium means mushroom. Maybe it is what it means. That's why I know it. I don't know. Was created by a group of scientists from faraway lands back at the dawn of the new time, which was 20 years ago. It's not that far away. They founded the Unity House in one of the abandoned buildings of Krasnoznameni, after which they left us. It sounds like very impressive, but then you need to think that everybody died, so there were a lot of abandoned buildings. Sometimes they visit, which means that he probably wouldn't say something like that. He would just say in Krasnoznameni, because that's, everybody did something in abandoned buildings. He says that sometimes they visit us, but I think they are guided by some great plan with capital G and capital P, the details of which I haven't been told yet. Nevertheless, I believe that one day we will understand it. I'm looking forward to that moment with all my heart. Yes. So, what does your organization do here? In brief, I mean. Guided... Oh, no. Oh, development. Capital E. I'm going to be able to ask that. Guided by the modesty principle, we are doing a lot of charity work. We aid the helpless, feed the hungry, give the disadvantaged a roof over their heads. Sure. And of course, we enlighten people about the greatness of the path to the development. Okay, tell me about this. The development path is the path of the whole humankind as a unified immortal organism. Immortal not because nothing can kill it, but because it isn't killing itself. The development path is the everlasting strive for the eternity. The eternity. The uses of pronouns or pronouns are weird. That has already... always guided the humankind. It is the power that makes us reach for the stars and further on into the unknown. The development path is an insane dream, he admits. But I saw the furious get humble and the cruel cry. I know that this dream is not that insane after all, even though I just said it was. I have faith. Which, Unity. Ah, that's what we call our headquarters. Actually, the Unity House. But we don't call it that often, as it sounds a bit long. What the freaking hell? Okay, I said, you've mentioned some Unity House. And he says, that's what we call our headquarters. But we don't call it that. Or we don't call it that often, as it sounds a bit long. The Unity House is situated in an old scientific research institute with capital S, R, and I in the center of Krasnoznameni, across the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, that sounds good. Could I ask you something else? Let's see. Definitely not joining your ranks. I'm definitely not. Can I ask you a couple of questions? Tell me about yourself, Igor. Before I became a member of the Mycelium Society, I was a merchant. I sold weapons, provisions, alcohol, and tobacco. All sorts of goods, in fact. Until a series of unfortunate events happened to me. He doesn't show any remorse for selling weapons, which is a little bit weird because of what he was telling me about the mushroom cult. My caravans, he says, were raided and I lost several very important contracts. If it weren't for the good people who advised me to join the Mycelium, I don't know where I would be right now. I'm afraid to even think about it. So that's how it is. I don't know what to think about that. Anyway, what do you think about Krasnoznameni? Before the war, he says, this town was small and not particularly important, and now it thrives. It's amazing how it happens. Such a horrible catastrophe gave new lease off life to this seemingly backwater rural area. I guess. I mean, yeah. Does your movement have your cult or movement? Let's go with that. Have a lot of followers. Movement is a specific thing. You can. It's not everything is not necessarily a movement, and certainly a cult could be a movement, but it's not necessarily the case. Plenty, he says, plenty of followers, and each day, each week, there are more of them. Naturally, the Mycelium has enemies. People tend to fear and dislike something they don't understand. But it's alright, we are still going to work for the benefit of the whole humankind. They don't understand. What are you doing that they are afraid of you and dislike you? You're spouting the most bland easy to to digest bleh ever. I think this line might hold some secrets. What are the rumors around in the area? They say that the Wellers of Otradnoy village suffer under the oppression of a criminal boss, nicknamed Dan. This is very sad, and I'm hoping they'll be able to somehow get out of this unpleasant situation. You can't use unpleasant after you said very sad, and certainly not after you said oppression of a criminal boss. Unpleasant. Oh, it's unpleasant that we starve. Okay, well, I'll go. And actually, I'll end the episode because we're out of time. Got our chicken over there. And we're going to continue talking to everybody in the next episode. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Atom RPG. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye. Damn drought. It's freaking raining.